Hello everyone, it's Suey here. I was tagged by Melinda at Web of Stories to do this Holmes is Where the Heart Is tag, which was originally created by, I forgot who. It was originally created by Book Time with Elvis. Yes. This is another one of those tags that's really super fun and creative because it's a list of anything that has to do with Sherlock Holmes, these prompts, right? As if I understand it correctly, we don't have to necessarily think of a mystery book, which is good because I am not a huge mystery fan, and most of the mystery stories I've read, most of them I don't remember how they even ended. Nothing sticks in my brain. I don't know. My brain is having issues with stuff like that lately, I guess. But anyway, so we're gonna stumble our way through this. So let's see how it goes. Should we? So the first one is Elementary, My Dear Watson. Share a classic mystery novel that you consider a must-read. So this one I had a struggle coming up with. I think most people think of either Agatha Christie or the Sherlock Holmes books, Arthur Conan Doyle books, to be top of the top tier classic mysteries. So I was trying to be creative and go outside that box, but I failed. The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle, a Sherlock Holmes mystery, is one of my favorite mysteries. I don't know if it's maybe because I've seen the movie adaptation of it too, but it's very intense and spooky and creepy and all the good things that I feel like a mystery should have. So that's one of my favorite classic mysteries, so I'm going to go with that one. Baker Street Irregulars. Recommend a book with a group of unlikely heroes or a diverse ensemble cast. The first one that came to my mind for this one is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. This is where we have a group of people that suddenly are in this apartment together. They're being held hostage by this robber, and they're a very diverse group of people and that come together and deal with a situation in this really amazing, crazy, fun way. So that's the first one I thought of. Completely different from, your mystery book, although that one does have a great mystery. It's one of those books where the mystery is something that I absolutely love, actually. So, Anxious People. Check that one out. The next prompt is, The Game is Afoot. Name a book that had a plot twist or revelation that completely surprised you. Okay, so I have a list of several books on my blog that have wow endings, is what we called them back in the day. But the one that I always come back to for an ending that blows my mind is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. The first time I read that, I wasn't sure I was understanding what I was actually reading. And when I realized what I was actually reading, I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. And even as many times as I read that book, the ending still just kind of blows me away. And I just find it to be really brilliantly shocking. I'm wondering if the rest of you that have read that have felt that way when you read this book. And I think nowadays it might not be as shocking because people have used the same sort of idea since then. But at that time when I read that book, I had never experienced such an emotion. So it was great. Great. 221B Baker Street. Talk about the time you visited somewhere of literary significance. So I have recently talked about this a lot because I just went to New England and visited a lot of literary spaces. And I think I have been to 221 Baker Street in England. It was not very impressive because all you do is, at least all we did, I don't know if there's something else you can do, is just see that there's a door with that on it. But more impressive for me recently was going to the Little Women house. It's called Orchard House. It's where Louisa May Alcott grew up, except she actually grew up in the house next door. And the Orchard House is where she lived when she was a little bit older, but it is where she wrote Little Women and where a lot of memories took place. I got a little emotional when I was there. I didn't expect that, really, but I think it's just because it was a place that I have thought about and hoped to see for many, many years. And so finally being there was a little emotional. I felt connected to that story and to that author like I've never done before. And I just find her life fascinating. So it was really awesome to finally see that house and see where those things took place and where she actually wrote the book. I'm going to combine these next two. Moriarty's, I can't say his name, Moriarty's Master Plan, and The Great Detective, which is actually the last prompt. But the first one, Moriarty's Master Plan, discussed a book where the antagonist was exceptionally cunning and memorable, and The Great Detective, recommend a book with a brilliant and memorable protagonist. I'm actually combining these two because when I was trying to figure out what books to use for these prompts, I came across The Count of Monte Cristo, which is a book I'm actually trying to reread this month. I have a couple friends who want to read it for the first time. I've read it several times, 2 at least that I can remember, and absolutely love this book. But I found my review of it, and in that review I mentioned that I felt like Edmond Dantès is both a brilliant antagonist and a brilliant protagonist. He's like both things in this book, which is the coolest thing ever, I feel like. So I thought I would combine those two and recommend The Count of Monte Cristo. If you've not read this book, it is time. And the unabridged is huge and a little daunting. I have never actually read the unabridged one myself. I've only read my little beat up old copy, which I don't have with me at the moment, which is really easy reading. Makes it, I think, a lot more pleasurable. Although some people say that if I love this book, I should really try the unabridged someday. So maybe someday. But yes, our hero, Edmond Dantès, he's brilliant. Talk about a brilliant mind, yes. And he turns in kind of to the bad guy in the end, because the whole story is him wreaking revenge on the people who put him in jail in the beginning of the book. And it's the best. It's the best thing ever. So, and I actually really love villains. Have we talked about this yet? Villains, I always end up feeling for. And I was trying to think of some great villain that I think is awesome, but my mind completely went blank for this actual prompt. So another video, we will discuss villains a little better, okay? The Art of Deduction. Mention either a book that kept you guessing all the way to the end or one where you guessed the outcome earlier on. Okay, something about me is that I never can guess the ending. I am always surprised. I am always like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. I am not one that can ever figure anything out. I don't know what that says about me, but yes. So pretty much any book that has some sort of twist in it, I will never have figured it out. The one I will mention for this prompt, and that I've read a little more recently than some of these other books, is Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, which is a Korean American family who have this crazy thing happens and they don't know what's going on, and everybody has a story, and you see the book from all the people's points of view, and it feels like every single one of them has something to hide and could be the person who did the deed. And then we go to the courtroom and we see it all unfold as they're telling their stories. It's pretty intriguing and very detailed and quite disturbing at the same time, all of those things. But I, of course, could never have guessed what was going on in that book. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Talk about a book with a strong atmospheric setting, or one where the setting plays a significant role in the story. So I thought of Wuthering Heights right off the bat, but I just really talked about that book. But dang, that book has a great atmospheric setting, you know? Another one, though, that I would like to mention is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Setting is so powerful in this story. The house, the ocean it's by, the water it's by, the feeling you get just walking in that house, because it is good. It is perfect for the feeling that you need to get from that story. So yes, I would say that one's a great one too. And then we are to the Reichenbach Falls. Talk about a series that you thought had ended but made a surprise comeback. The one I came up with for this one is Twilight, because I totally thought that series was over with four books that we all know and enjoyed, maybe even loved, some of us. And then years later we get The Midnight Sun, which is the whole story from Edward's point of view, which many of us knew was in existence, but Stephanie Meyer said she was not going to release it. And then bam, there it was. So I felt like that was a good answer to a series you thought ended but made a surprising comeback, don't you think? And then we have the Sherlockian adaptations. Discuss your favorite book to screen adaptation or retelling of a classic story. Okay, I have many of these. Pretty much anything the BBC does is a fantastic adaptation of the book. But the best one, of course, is Pride and Prejudice. And I already mentioned this book the other day too. But the BBC one, the long version, the Colin Firth one, excellent. I never get tired of it. Perfect. It follows the book to a T. And yes, that's pretty much my favorite one. Since I combined the last one with the one above, that is the end for this one. Okay, so I'm supposed to tag people. Last time I actually tagged people in it, and that was kind of fun. I did not prepare anybody to tag this time, and my mind goes blank figuring out people off the top of my head. So I have no idea who's done this one. So if you haven't done it and this sounds like a fun one, please and go for it and do it and let me know so I can come and see what your answers are. Yes, I kind of did this one off the top of my head to hurry and get a video filmed so I can get it up before I got out of town. Hopefully it didn't seem too haphazard. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.